You've probably heard many things about menopause, that it only lasts a few years, that it's just about hot flashes, or that there's nothing you can do about it. But the truth is, many of these beliefs are myths that keep women suffering in silence and even put long-term health at risk. So what's fact and what's fiction? Does menopause only last a few years? Not exactly. Hot flashes may ease, but hormonal changes continue to affect your heart, bones, and brain for the rest of your life. Is menopause just hot flashes and the end of your periods? No, it can also bring depression, anxiety, insomnia, memory loss, and higher risks of osteoporosis and heart disease. Is there nothing you can do but endure? Absolutely not. From nutrition, exercise, and stress management to safe medical options, there are many ways to take control. And does menopause mean losing vitality or intimacy? Not at all. With the right care, many women rediscover confidence, energy, and joy. Menopause is not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter you can face with clarity and strength. Hi, I'm Dr. Gunter, a gynecologist with over 20 years of experience helping women navigate menopause with confidence and clarity. Over the decades, I've worked with thousands of women during this transition, and I've seen how myths and misinformation can create unnecessary fear, shame, and even neglect. That's why today, I want to set the record straight, so you can approach menopause armed with truth, strength, and peace of mind. Menopause is one of the most misunderstood and overlooked stages in a woman's life. For generations, it has been surrounded by cultural silence, outdated medical beliefs, and a flood of misinformation that leaves women confused, anxious, and unprepared for what is happening in their own bodies. Too often, women are told to simply tough it out. Or worse, they're made to believe that their struggles are just a natural part of aging that must be endured in silence. But the truth is, this lack of honest conversation has real consequences. It can prevent women from seeking support, cause unnecessary fear, and even put their long-term health at risk. In my practice, I hear the same misconceptions repeated week after week, myths that can steal confidence, joy, and vitality if left unchallenged. So today, let me share with you 4 of the most common myths about menopause that I hear from my patients, and more importantly, the facts you truly deserve to know. And I'll tell you right now, the last myth is the most dangerous of all. It's the one that, if you believe it, can quietly harm your heart, weaken your bones, and even affect the health of your brain. This is the kind of misinformation that doesn't just cause discomfort, it can truly put your long-term well-being at risk. That's why it's so important to separate fact from fiction and understand what's really happening in your body. So stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to share could completely change the way you think about menopause. And if you find this message helpful, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another women's health truth that could protect your future. Myth #1: menopause only lasts a couple of years. So many women come into my office with the same belief. Doctor, I just need to get through these hot flashes. They'll pass in a few years, right? And it breaks my heart because that's one of the most common and most dangerous myths about menopause. Let me share the story of Karen. She was 58, a retired teacher, energetic and proud of her healthy lifestyle. She told me, "I thought menopause was behind me. The hot flashes eased after 2 or 3 years, so I assumed I was done." But when she came to see me, she wasn't complaining about hot flashes anymore. Instead, she was worried about frequent fatigue, aching joints, and a recent diagnosis of osteoporosis. She was shocked. "How could this happen?" she asked. "I thought menopause was over." And here's the truth: while hot flashes may fade, the hormonal changes of menopause don't simply disappear after a few years. When estrogen levels decline, the effects ripple through nearly every system in your body, not just in your 50s, but for the rest of your life. Estrogen plays a protective role in the cardiovascular system. It helps maintain flexible blood vessels and balance cholesterol. Without it, your risk of heart disease, the #1 killer of women, begins to rise significantly after menopause. It also affects your bones. Estrogen slows bone breakdown and supports bone density. That's why women can lose up to 20% of their bone mass in the first 5 to 7 years after menopause, leaving them vulnerable to fractures later in life. For Karen, that meant her seemingly minor back pain was actually the beginning of osteoporosis. And then there's the brain. Estrogen influences neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and acetylcholine, the very chemicals that regulate mood, memory, and cognition. This is why so many women notice brain fog, forgetfulness, or even depression years after their last period. It's not just aging. It's the long-term impact of hormonal change. The myth that menopause only lasts a couple of years can be harmful because it convinces women to ignore these ongoing changes. They stop paying attention to their heart health. They delay bone density scans. And they dismiss brain fog as something inevitable. The result? Silent but preventable damage. The fact is, menopause is not a short phase, it's a lifelong stage. The transition may begin in your late 40s or early 50s, but its effects on your heart, bones, and brain last for decades. And while this may sound overwhelming, it's actually empowering. Because once you understand that menopause is lifelong, you can take steps to protect your health for the long run. Karen's story didn't end with her diagnosis. Together we built a plan: nutrition rich in calcium and vitamin D, weight-bearing exercises, stress management, and when appropriate, medical therapy. Within a year, her bone density stabilized, her energy improved, and most importantly, she realized that caring for her body wasn't about getting through menopause, but about thriving in this new stage of life. So the next time you hear someone say, menopause only lasts a couple of years, remember, hot flashes may come and go, but your health journey continues. Menopause is not a finish line, it's the beginning of a new chapter that deserves attention and long-term care. And speaking of myths that hold women back, let's look at the next one: the idea that menopause is just hot flashes. Because the truth is, it affects far more than you might think. Myth #2: menopause is just hot flashes. When most people think of menopause, one image comes to mind: a woman fanning herself during a sudden hot flash. And yes, hot flashes and night sweats are common symptoms, but reducing menopause to just hot flashes is like describing winter as just a little cold. It ignores the full picture, and it can leave women unprepared for the challenges that truly matter. Take the story of Linda. She was 61, a grandmother of 4, and came to see me because she felt like she was falling apart. She rarely had hot flashes anymore, but she was battling something deeper: constant fatigue, sleepless nights, mood swings, and a memory that just wasn't as sharp. She told me, "Doctor, I thought I was finished with menopause years ago, so why do I feel like this now?" Here's why: estrogen does much more than regulate temperature. It influences nearly every system in the body. In the brain, it supports neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which stabilize mood and protect against depression and anxiety. That's why Linda's irritability and low energy weren't just stress. They were linked to hormonal changes that hadn't gone away. Estrogen also plays a role in sleep. When levels drop, women are more likely to experience insomnia, restless nights, or waking up at 3 a.m. with a racing mind. Poor sleep in turn affects focus, memory, and emotional resilience. This is what Linda described as her brain fog: forgetting names, losing track of appointments, even struggling with daily tasks. And the effects don't stop there. Menopause impacts the skin, the urinary tract, sexual health, and metabolism. Vaginal dryness, recurrent urinary infections, weight gain around the midsection, these are all tied to hormonal shifts. Many women, embarrassed by these symptoms, stay silent. They don't realize these issues are part of menopause, and therefore they don't seek help. The danger of believing the myth that menopause is only about hot flashes is that it minimizes the full scope of changes. Women dismiss real symptoms as just aging. Doctors overlook important risks, and families fail to understand what their loved ones are going through. The fact is, menopause is a whole body transformation. It can affect your mood, memory, sleep, skin, heart, and bones, and none of these should be ignored. Once Linda realized this, she felt empowered instead of defeated. We worked together on practical solutions, improving her sleep hygiene, adding regular exercise, adjusting her nutrition, and considering low-dose medical therapies. Within months, her energy improved, her memory stabilized, and she finally felt like she had control again. So remember this: menopause is not just hot flashes. It is a complex stage of life that touches every aspect of a woman's health. Recognizing the full picture is the first step toward getting the care and support you deserve. And if you think the hot flash myth is misleading, wait until you hear the next one: the belief that there's nothing you can do about menopause. Because the truth is, there are powerful ways to take control of your body and your future. Myth-3: there's nothing you can do about menopause. One of the most disheartening things I hear from women is this: "Doctor, I thought menopause was something I just had to put up with. There's nothing I can do right." This myth, the idea that women are powerless during menopause, is not only false, it is harmful. It robs women of hope, discourages them from seeking care, and leaves them suffering in silence. Let me tell you about Sandra. She was 64, a former nurse and one of the strongest women I've ever met. But when she sat across from me, she looked defeated. She told me, "I thought I was tough. I survived 12-hour shifts in the ER, raising 3 kids, and even cancer in my 40s, but this feels like something I can't fight. Everyone keeps telling me menopause is natural, so I just have to accept it." Sandra was struggling with relentless night sweats, weight gain, aching joints, and an overwhelming sense of anxiety. She had been told by friends and even by some doctors that these were just part of getting older. But here's the truth: while menopause is natural, suffering is not. There is so much that can be done to ease symptoms and protect long-term health. For example, lifestyle changes make a huge difference. Regular exercise, especially strength training and walking, can improve bone density, reduce hot flashes, and boost mood through endorphins. Nutrition rich in calcium, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids supports heart and brain health. Sleep hygiene, like keeping the bedroom cool and dark and avoiding caffeine late in the day, can restore deep healing rest. Medical options also exist, and they're safer today than ever before. Hormone therapy, when prescribed correctly, can reduce hot flashes, improve bone density, and protect against cardiovascular decline. Non-hormonal treatments, such as SRI or gabapentin, can also help with mood and sleep. And local estrogen creams can address vaginal dryness and urinary issues without affecting the whole body. Most importantly, emotional support is powerful medicine. Joining a menopause support group, talking openly with family, or simply realizing, "I'm not alone in this," can lift an enormous weight off a woman's shoulders. For Sandra, hearing other women share the same struggles gave her back a sense of control. The fact is, menopause is not something you have to just live with. It is something you can actively manage. Within 6 months of lifestyle changes, targeted therapy, and emotional support, Sandra told me, "Doctor, I feel like myself again. For the first time in years, I'm not just surviving, I'm living." So the next time you hear someone say there's nothing you can do about menopause, remember this: there are always steps you can take. You have more control over your body, your mind, and your future than you realize. And this brings us to the final myth, and perhaps the most damaging of all: the belief that menopause means the end of vitality and sexuality. This myth doesn't just affect health, it strikes at the very core of a woman's identity. Let's uncover the truth. Myth-4: menopause means the end of vitality and sexuality. This is the myth that cuts the deepest. The idea that once menopause begins, a woman's best years are behind her, that energy fades, intimacy ends, and joy is no longer possible. I've heard this myth whispered in support groups, reinforced in media, and even spoken aloud by women themselves, often with sadness in their eyes. But let me tell you, it could not be further from the truth. Let me share the story of Elaine. She was 66, a retired lawyer, sharp-minded and vibrant. But when she came to see me, she confessed, "Doctor, I feel invisible. My energy is gone, I've gained weight. And intimacy with my husband has become painful. I keep wondering, is this just the end of that part of my life?" Elaine's story is heartbreakingly common. Declining estrogen can lead to vaginal dryness, thinning tissues, and lower libido. Combined with fatigue, joint pain, or weight gain, many women assume their sexual life and even their vitality is over. But here's the fact: menopause doesn't erase vitality. It changes the body, yes. But with knowledge and care, women can reclaim not only their health, but also their confidence and intimacy. Science shows that local estrogen therapy or non-hormonal moisturizers can restore vaginal comfort. Regular physical activity boosts energy, enhances circulation, and improves sexual response. Mindful practices like yoga or meditation reduce stress and help women reconnect with their bodies. And open conversations with partners can transform intimacy from something feared into something rediscovered. But vitality is more than just sexuality. It's about energy, purpose, and joy in daily life. Many women, freed from the worry of menstruation and childbearing, rediscover passions they once put aside: travel, art, new careers, or simply deeper connections with family. In fact, research shows that women in their 60s and beyond often report higher levels of life satisfaction than in their 40s or 50s. For Elaine, the change came slowly but surely. With gentle treatment for vaginal health, a new exercise routine, and open dialogue with her husband, she began to smile again. She told me, "I thought menopause ended me. Instead, it gave me a second chance, a chance to live differently with more freedom and honesty than ever before." The truth is, menopause does not mark the end of vitality or sexuality. It is a transition, one that requires understanding and adaptation, but also one that can open the door to renewed strength, intimacy, and fulfillment. And after decades of walking with women through this journey, I can say with certainty, menopause is not a closing chapter. It's the beginning of a new one, and it can be written with energy, passion, and joy. After decades of listening to women, I've learned this. What hurts most is not menopause itself, but the myths that surround it. These myths keep women quiet, isolated, and ashamed. But the truth is different. The facts show that you can protect your heart, your bones, your brain, and your joy if you have the right knowledge and support. Menopause is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter where wisdom, resilience, and vitality can shine brighter than ever before. This is your time to reclaim your health, your confidence, and your voice. If this message helped clear away some confusion, take a moment to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss another women's health tip that could truly change your life. And please share this video with a friend, a daughter, or a sister, because together we can break the silence, bust the myths, and bring truth and hope to every woman navigating menopause.